Hello everyone and welcome back to Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, where we're about to start day 2 of our trial after day 1 of the investigation. December 20th, 10:15 a.m. So this is after, we're now like in the present, as far as I can tell. Right? What?
I suppose we should reconvene for the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something.
Objection!
Your Honor? Could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise.
Oh, yes, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. Then Mr. Tonate self-destructed.
I guess that's one way of describing what happened, Tonate.
Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tonate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense. Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial so far?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready.
Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time?
Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, we've certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. Very true. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts.
Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Terrain, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The astronauts used Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge.
And?
How could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point?
Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Dono's argument was correct. So that means the testimonies of the first 2 people on the scene are suspect. There are 2 people who claim to be first on the scene, but can we truly trust their statements? Let's see, the 2 people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You know, one of them might have given a false statement to police. Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. Okay. And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow, he killed my witness. He killed Detective Arm. He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Oh. Right. Exactly, in other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said that Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues that there was a third person in the lounge, and that's who killed the victim. Yeah, it's kind of on us to prove that, though. To make such a reckless claim in a courtroom takes a bold man. Or a stupid one. There's no third person in the boarding lounge, or have you gone dotty already? Old man.
Objection!
Hey! We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. Is this just evolving in how far apart are they even? He's 28. How old are we? I don't have that here. Alright, whatever. Wait, how the robots are here? Wait, she's 37? Quite the age gap. Alright. I was just curious the age difference between Phoenix and Blackwell. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene.
They saw a third person.
Oh, wait, hold on. No. I see my sister has been running her mouth. That's right, I almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. No matter, she didn't see this mysterious person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess that possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Dr. Cosmos, huh?
Very well, bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand. Why, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers. Of course you have, for I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was, of course, named after me, Yuri Cosmos. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me?
Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging.
7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1, and...
Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Oh, crap. I thought they were gonna start arguing. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? Ooh, he's good. He's very good.
I see this fine young lad has a proper appreciation for greatness. Then allow me to begin my epochal testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history.
That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now. It sounded more like to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head.
Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please.
Is there like a very, very abridged version?
Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and terrain lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck.
Nope.
I see. So in your testimony you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge. Just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity. What I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. Courageous action to take in the face of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger, risking my own life for theirs.
Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men. Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away.
Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm going to have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else, right? You know, I'm trying to I don't think they've done this. I love a game where you play as the prosecutor. Like, I think that would be interesting. I'm trying to think if have we even gotten to sit on the prosecutor's bench? I can't remember. I know we've had help, but I'm just thinking, man, how cool would it be? Oh wait, I read all that. I got distracted by my own idea. Which I swear I've had multiple times. Where were you coming from?
The 6th floor. We were making sure any stragglers made their way to the 4th floor. It was then we heard about Starbuck in terrain and hurried to the 3rd floor lounge. Wait, what? Oh, my galactic scooter here, of course.
Why do you keep calling it galactic? Does it have something to do with space?
Well, I'm a spaceman, and it's my scooter, so, of course, it's specifically designed to be used on galactic battleships, of which several exist.
I see. Then I take it works at 0G too?
Sadly, no, with the current state of technology as it is. I'm afraid it would just float about and be galactically useless.
Well, that's a galactic bummer.
I see, so you rushed to the boarding lounge on your space-age pogo stick. You got to the scene, what did you see?
The control room and peeked in there to see what was going on inside. Alright, tell us about that. Let's see. According to this diagram, you didn't have to go through the control room to get to boarding lounge 1. It looks like you could have gone there from the southern corridor as well.
Yes, but in her haste, Detective Arm rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow behind her.
I see.
So we peeked into the boarding lounge from the control room door and...
Standing in the middle of the lounge, a train lying on the floor. Okay. So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly or what they were doing.
Sadly, the only thing I could tell was that it was a person, standing motionless.
Interesting. The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. What other explanation is there? Literally everything. Ugh, I'm so close. Without evidence, I can't prove that person's the third party.
I don't relish in this, and...
Based on what? Aria Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly?
No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see terrain, but I couldn't see who the other person was.
So it was being held there intentionally? So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck, isn't that correct? I feel like now it is on them to prove that it was Starbuck.
I would like to believe that. Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder.
When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. But it was too dark to see. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director?
Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Terrain were there by that time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished.
You mean they disappeared? That's odd. The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness. That seems difficult. Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off the scene?
Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by.
If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time.
But what escape route could this person have used?
The other door? We just talked about this. The direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way. What do you now? No, things are possible, right, Dono? The real question is, do you have any proof? What? I feel like you should have to prove that didn't happen. Because as long as it's possible that it did, like, you can't convict my client. If we were just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and then a researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we've done to it. Is that an intentional Sailor Moon reference? But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? He's calling your theory a work of fiction, but that has to be. And he's right, I don't have any proof yet, still. The southern door was a possible escape route. Better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why did you look away from the boarding lounge?
There's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that.
Oh god.
It was when Detective Arm saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her. Wait, what?
What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure?
I imagine her instincts as a detective told her they were in the killer.
I don't know about that. And were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun?
I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly and then she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure. This information about Detective Arm's actions sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony.
Press that. And neither of these 2 shots hit the culprit.
That is correct. The detective appears to have missed on purpose.
But did she really? There's something about this that bothers me. So Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, did she? That's the first time that info has come out. I wonder if I can find any inconsistencies. I got one! I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Before we... Actually, I'm just going to go to that statement. Single bullet hole was found. There we go. That was... piece of cake. Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing?
You doubt my words? Words that will someday be written down in history books.
Somehow I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books.
Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand?
You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene.
What?
Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once, and yet Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book. Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirm the 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun. So someone has a bullet hole.
Objection!
But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? Ah! You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun, the same caliber as the detective's gun. What? Oh, crap. The victim's oxygen tank was struck by a bullet. But wasn't it? It was leaking before then. The rifling marks also match up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. Oh, I'll believe that. A bullet found near the victim's oxygen tank is fired from a .38 caliber handgun. Shoot, alright, so that doesn't matter.
Rifling marks. They're like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct? I relearn this every game.
Which I guess I can't complain about because I probably should too.
And examining the rifle marks on a bullet can tell us the gun it was fired from.
One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. That bullet hole was from a .38 caliber, huh? I better update the record. But was it? It was made by a bullet fired from a .38 caliber gun.
Very good. Now we know the fate of both of the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all of your questions?
Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? I have nothing. What about our bullet that we found? What does that tell us? Discovered it. It was fired from a 10 cal. No, it doesn't. Okay. Whew. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun, but that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a third person. Oh.
Very well, but it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggests the possibility of a third person at the scene?
Not that one. This one.
What is this metal pellet supposed to be?
Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor.
You found it? Where?
In a floor gutter at the crime scene. Looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a 10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of Detective Arm's .38 calibers.
That means...
Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. Nailed it. A third person who had a gun that could fire 10 caliber bullets. And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. This third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos?
It looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. What's this now?
What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before.
Well, all great men have a secret or two, don't you know?
Foolish old geezer. So Director Cosmos really has been hiding the presence of a third person all along? Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw.
You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom, you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. No, please give accurate testimony.
Alright. What I really saw at the crime scene, I was waiting for that, like what really happened.
Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and terrain on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean that the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant?
Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock.
Objection!
Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one, and it is you who is cut down. Your reasoning could apply if Spaceboy were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person. But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police, nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them. Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute. No, they couldn't.
Objection!
But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon.
Objection!
It's up to you to prove that possibility, and I trust you have forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? Why, the detonator switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all that tells us that he is the culprit. I did forget all about that. Look, your baldness, how deliciously obvious it is they lack the evidence to rival mine. He sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us, just like that.
Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet, that mysterious figure shot, where did it hit exactly?
Nope.
It hit me. Does that mean you're a ghost?
I was wondering when you would realize it, your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls.
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your baldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again.
Are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. What?
I hate that that actually lines up. That's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Oh wow, look at that. There's one extra Gaiaxa star. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. I'm beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos.
Why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand.
I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out.
Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
And we'll begin that cross-examination in the next episode. I feel like we should be pretty close to being able to prove there's a third person in there, but we'll just have to see. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.